Hey friends, it's Wilk, and before we get started with this week's episode, I want to mention a couple things real quick about a couple affiliates. Affiliates help me keep the show going, and by you using the services of one of our affiliates, I get a little kickback at no extra cost to you. So if you've ever thought about starting a podcast, Buzzsprout is a great place to start. They have some phenomenal tools, and starting a podcast is a lot easier when you've got the right tools. So join over 100,000 other people who've started a podcast with Buzzsprout, and if you click the link to them in our show notes, I'll get a little bit of something for every paid membership. So I would really appreciate that. Helps a lot to support the show. Also, online grocery shopping, it's a big thing right now, especially with the pandemic and the lockdowns and people, being sketchy about going out in the public. If you want to do some grocery shopping at home in a quick, convenient way and have that stuff delivered to your house, check out Instacart. Instacart is a phenomenal way for people to buy groceries online and have them conveniently delivered to their house. So, again, in our show notes, check out one of the banner ads, check out the links. Instacart is a great way to do a little bit of online grocery shopping and have it conveniently delivered to your house. So with that, we're going to dive right into the show. Welcome back, my friends, to the Derate to Hate podcast. I am Wilk from wilksworld.com, and this is going to be episode 27 of the Derate to Hate podcast. And this one, I actually do not have a title for yet, so I'm going to work on that, try to come up with something before I publish this episode. But I've been thinking a lot lately, not only about previous episodes, but about everything that's going on these days. And, like last week's episode, I talked about tribalism and how we're so divided. So I'm going to ask you a question. And actually, I'm going to start off with a couple questions that I always start the episode with, or I bring up every week. And that's, what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? And then the next question that I'm going to ask, specifically geared towards this week's episode, is what if people were to love one another as easily as they hate one another for their trivial differences? So what if they were to love each other for their similarities? And it's not, everybody's not going to have a bunch of similarities. I think we probably have more than most people think. But what if we were to love each other as easily for those similarities as so many people do, and so quickly people find themselves hating each other for the trivial differences that keep us spread apart? Now, I know it's a hard concept, but it's really not if you think about it enough. The biggest obstacle to this, and I talk about it all the time, is the people that are trying to divide us. I mean, I talked about in previous episodes, I talked about people trying to put us into a box and putting labels on those boxes. And like I said last week, talking about tribalism and the chaos and degradation that come along with tribalism, and the fact that there's constantly politicians trying to put us in those boxes with those labels, and the mainstream media and trying to stir up division and hatred amongst people based on these predefined notions of who they are. But each of us as an individual, and I talk about that a lot in this podcast, is individualism and how important it is for each of us as an individual to take control of our lives, be responsible for our reactions to things, and be the person that we want to be. And we have to make the impact. We have to make each day the day that we want it to be. So with this podcast, this one's not going to be long. It's going to be very short, very sweet. But I want you to think about a question. I really want you to think about that. What would the world be like? Because I think it would be an entirely different place if we were able to take the small similarities that we have with people and love each other for those similarities, as opposed to looking out and seeking out those little differences. Because nobody, I promise you, the mainstream media and the politicians and the jokers on the dumpster fire that is social media, they're not going to constantly seek out and point out and emphasize the similarities we have, the things that would make things easier for us to get along. That's not the way that's going to work. It's never going to work that way. At least I don't believe so in my lifetime. So the big thing that we really have to do, again, like so many things we have to do as individuals, but one of the big things that we have to do is really think about that. What if we were to start loving one another for our similarities as easily as so many people, find it to hate one another for our differences? I mean, we constantly, like I said, the barrage of garbage that we get from politicians and the mainstream media and social media, all that stuff, constantly pointing out our differences and trying to accentuate the differences that we have amongst each other. But let's as individuals start looking for the similarities we have with each other. I mean, everybody knows what the differences are. I mean, obviously, the mother of all differences that people hate each other for, the mother of all differences that people hate each other is the stupidest thing on the planet, and hating each other for the color of our skin. That everybody, any reasonable person on the planet looks at that and says, how could you possibly look at this as a difference worth hating each other for? But then the biggest one nowadays, I mean, that's the dumbest one. The biggest one is political differences. I mean, political differences right now, especially, in the political climate that we're in, political differences. Everybody's trying to divide us up by a political party, and they use all the other little ones, ranging from the big thing, the big things to the small things. They're looking for every little thing they can to divide us up. But you know what? Let's put all that garbage aside. That garbage, it's all trivial. It's all stupid. There's so many similarities that we have as human beings, and so many little things that we can the commonalities between different people and different types of people. And I don't care if it's people of different color or people of different sex or people of different age or social class or economic class. I don't care who you are. There's going to be something that you have in common with that person standing next to you. You can be black and white, rich and poor, European and East Asian, whatever. It doesn't matter. There is going to be something that you're going to have in common with that other person. And as long as you focus on those things that you have in common, as opposed to the trivial differences that you have between you that are obvious, obviously, the things that I'm talking about, there's very obvious things, but the things that we have in common may not be so obvious. And that takes conversation, that takes interaction, that takes getting to know somebody, which can be scary. But as long as you just realize that is your goal, what do I have in common with this person? Where are the similarities between me and you? Where are the things that we can do and come to an agreement on? And instead of automatically hating each other for the things that stand out, now we can look for the similarities and begin to love each other and smooth out our society, rather than maintaining that rough division and hatefulness that is driven by so many of the avenues that people are constantly engaging in nowadays. So it's really not that hard if you think about it. It just takes a little effort, and it takes a little, it just takes being kind. I mean, look at one another and say, hey, I can see the difference between you and I, but let's dig a little deeper and find out what we've got in common, what similarities we have. and maybe we can spread a little bit of love that way, as opposed to all the negativity and everything else that we see all the time. So, again, until I publish this, I'm probably not going to come up with a title, but I told you it was going to be short. I told you it was going to be sweet and to the point. That's exactly what it is. What if we loved each other and loved one another for the similarities as easily as some people find it to hate each other for the trivial differences amongst us? So with that, we're going to dive into this week's feel-good story, because all the people who listen to the Derate the Hate podcast know I love a feel-good story. I love stories that most people would not see in the national news. And this week's feel-good story is about a youngster. Quite honestly, I'm not even sure where this story is out of. It's off of News Press Now, which is a site that just popped up when I'm looking for feel-good stories. But this youngster, 7-year-old Hunter Wade, left his bike outside on the porch of his house in St. Joseph. Not sure what state. Doesn't really matter. But the fact is he left his little bicycle, a bicycle that he saved up for himself. He's 7 years old, doing little projects, doing little things, allowance, whatever the deal is. Saved up, bought himself a bike. He loves doing little tricks and cruising around on his bike like little boys do, right? Left the bike on his porch, and the next day he goes out and his bicycle is gone. There's not much worse in this life than a thief, and some thief stole young Hunter Wade's bicycle. And his mother said she decided to post it online to see if somebody in the area had seen somebody riding young Hunter's bicycle, to see what had happened. Some locals got together and decided that there's a lot of negativity in this world, kind of like I talk about, weeding out the negativity and showing some positivity. And some of the locals in town got together and got young Hunter a new bicycle. Just to show him that, the world isn't all bad. The world is not all bad. There's a lot of good people out there. And the only way that we can get rid of and overpower the bad that's in this world is by doing good. And there's some good local people out there doing good things, and they got young Hunter a new bicycle. This story kind of stood out to me because, as a young child, I did a lot of odd jobs and chores and things, and I bought a lot of my own stuff. And there's nothing worse than having somebody take something that belongs to you. And these locals around young Hunter Wade came together and helped him replace that bicycle that he had worked for, and I appreciate that so much. I appreciate good people doing good things, extraordinary people doing or ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and it's a cool little story. So I'll put that story in the show notes, and you can check it out. Story from News Press Now about young Hunter Wade and the bicycle that went missing, and more importantly, the people that came together to get that bicycle replaced. So with that, I'm going to wrap up episode 27 of the Derate the Hate podcast, and I appreciate you guys so much for listening, and I just want to ask, what have you done today to make the world a better place? What have you done today to make your life a better life? We're here to better the world one attitude at a time, and that all begins with you as an individual. So when you get out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. So with that, I'm Wilk from wilksworld.com. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the support. Thank you very much. Go to your, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, follow us on our website at deratethehate.com, and share us with your friends. I do appreciate it. For this week, I'm going to back on out of here and say thank you very much, and we'll catch you